this your man Melvin Taylor. Welcome back to another episode of The Alternative Radio Show with Melvin Taylor. Please remember to keep it locked right here every single Monday night, 11:55 p.m. until 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on WHCR 90.3 FM New York. You can also find me during quarantine on my YouTube channel at the same time, 11:55 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. We're going to be rocking out with The Alternative, all right? Now, right now, we're going to get into some music and then come back, and I'm actually going to be talking today. Got a lot of things to talk to you guys about that I'm sure we can catch up on and, just have fun like we always do. So remember, keep it tuned right here to The Alternative. We'll be right back.
Boss life. This is for you, my future.
I love it when you ride for me and the way you put it all on the line for me, girl. I pray you never lie to me. I don't know what I would do if you would lie to me, girl. Love it when you ride for me and the way you put it all on the line for me, girl. I pray you never lie to me. I don't know what I would do if you would lie to me, girl.
You've been around since day one, never switched up, that's kinda rare where I'm from. Yeah, we been through it, hard times influence, vigorous motivation. If you broke, you choose it. Not us, we made a pact, never to go back to a life below average, and that's a fact. We off the with a paper act, anywhere across the map. We doing what bosses do, so what you say to that? Yeah, when I had nothing, you were right there, and now I got a little something and you still here.
Girl,
let's make it real clear that in 2019, this is our year.
girl,
our time is coming. We came from nothing and made it something. Ignored assumptions, tighten our circumference. Me and you together ain't nothing to
I love it when you ride for me and the way you put it all on the line for me, girl. I pray you never lie to me. I don't know what I would do if you would lie to me, girl. Love it when you ride for me and the way you put it all on the line for me, girl. I pray you never lie to me. I don't know what I would do if you would lie to me, girl.
Now that money flowing in, a little more established. Shorty's on point, my little savage. Anything she wants, bet she can have it. Don't get her bad side, cause mommy do damage. Got us a new crib, she living exclusive. Never listen to bull, she know what the truth is. In fact, she's different from all these bodies, so vicious, so delicious. We going the distance, ain't no stopping us now. You don't gotta show all the hate, just ask us how. We be living like we living our best life, and stay sucker free, you be alright. Yeah, we ride together, we strive together, we'll die together. We are forever, you made me better. Cross you never, these ties can never sever.
I love it when you ride for me and the way you put it all on the line for me, girl. I pray you never lie to me. I don't know what I would do if you would lie to me, girl. Love it when you ride for me and the way you put it all on the line for me, girl. I pray you never lie to me. I don't know what I would do if you would lie to me, girl. When you ride for me on the line for me.
What up, y'all? Remember, you're tuned into The Alternative with Melvin Taylor right here on WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. Man, it's been a little while since I've been back talking on the show, y'all, and honestly, like to keep it 1,000 with y'all, or, keep it 100, keep it 2 Virgils with y'all. It's mostly because I just had to take a step back and kind of redirect my focus to where I believe it should be at this point in time, guys. Like, I'm sure you all can understand, right? This is a situation that we're all going through and that nobody within our lifetime has really had to deal with. So, having to be inside for so long and having to really, be with yourself and sit with yourself and have some of those uncomfortable conversations and truths and be honest with yourself is something that's very much needed from a lot of people right now. And I took the time to be able to do that, to sit down and say, okay, aside from me and all these goals and aspirations that I have, what other things do I really need to be working on in order for me to be a better person overall? So that's why I had to take some time away just to kind of get my head back together and to also plan, things that I want to do for the remainder of this year. Because right now, definitely looking like we need to be inside for the rest of this year. I don't know about y'all, but with the way in which things are going, I'm like, y'all, we don't need to be playing around at all. We just need to be safe than sorry. Just, 2020, we really rolled into the rolling 20s, bro. Let's just really roll back into the house and let's keep it that way, all right? As per usual, Alternative Row, I'm going to see if I can get some podcast episodes up there for y'all, because I've been having some conversations with people, and I'm really excited to share what I've learned from those conversations as well as share them with you. But as y'all know, it's just a small team here. I'm doing a lot of this editing right now myself. So got to get all that stuff together, and then I can present it to you all. Aside from that, I definitely have to shout out to everybody on Patreon, man. You guys have been killing it so far. We've been supporting me, and I am so for it. So thankful. So real quick, before I even get to the Patreon shout out, first let me shout out to Tanya, Young Chris, Cole Wright, Bone, what's up, Naomi, and Brenton. I appreciate you guys for always listening to the show, even way back when, 3 years ago when I was starting, all the way up until now. I'm so incredibly thankful for you guys. And to my Patreon supporters, let me give a quick shout out to Eric, Larry, JL, OC, Paul Winterfield, Ganley, Julia, Danielle, Yin, Amanda, Mike, Whit, and Dan. Thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys are giving me on Patreon. For those of you that are wondering what is Patreon, it is a way for people to be able to donate more resources over to me, so that way it can help with the improvement of the radio show and of my YouTube page, and eventually all of the sketches and shorts that I'm writing right now that will live on my YouTube channel, man. As y'all know, I talk to you guys at length about everything it is that I want to do. Supporting me financially on Patreon is one of the ways that people have been able to help out, especially right now when people have been asking, hey, what more can I do to really help you out? So that's where that's been coming in from. So definitely thankful for that. Haven't been listening to as much albums or really any music as of late. So I'm excited to really dive back into everything that's going on, even though we're going to talk about somebody's last album potentially a little bit later when we get to group chat news. So with all that being said, let's hop back into some more music. So far today, I've been playing a lot of indie music for you guys, right? For those of you out there that are artists or that know of an artist, tell them to hit my Gmail, thealtwithmel@gmail.com. Tell them in the subject line, put music submission, and me or someone from my team will get back to you guys and tell you how you can get your music on the Alternative Radio Show. So with that being said, let's get back to the indie music, and after that, we'll get to group chat news. The Alternative, don't go nowhere.
I started with nothing, did left with a bag. Okay. She thought I was frontin', till I left with a right. Running through these hundreds, like I ain't gon' last. Yeah, I'm smoking on something, and I ain't gon' pass. I started with nothing, did left with a bag. Okay. She thought I was frontin', till I left with a right. Running through these hundreds, like I ain't gon' last. Yeah, I'm smoking on something, and I ain't gon' pass. Bad bitch in the coupe, big packs in the Lex. Looking at your boo, talking about who next. These niggas shoot, better come correct. Make it do what it do, so I ain't gotta flex. I remember J's in the peephole, beat that game, no cheat code. All I know is G-code, flip them O's at zeros. She wanna see how ego, don't say but no hero. I hit that once, no sequel, then pass it to my people. I started with nothing, did left with a bag. She thought I was frontin', till I left with that right. Running through these hundreds, like I ain't gon' last. Yeah, I'm smoking on something, and I ain't gon' pass. I started with nothing, did left with a bag. She thought I was frontin', till I left with that right. Running through these hundreds, like I ain't gon' last. Yeah, I'm smoking on something, and I ain't gon' pass. And I ain't no tricker, hold up. I just give that till you swole up. I'ma hit your hip while I slow up. Behind tent when I roll up. Just getting them chips for my soldiers. I got a little mix with my soda. I'm ready to dip for the rollers. You don't get shit if I don't know ya. I started with nothing, did left with a bag. She thought I was frontin', till I left with that right. Running through these hundreds, like I ain't gon' last. Yeah, I'm smoking on something, and I ain't gon' pass. I started with nothing, Then left with a bag. She thought I was frontin'. Till I left with a damn right. Running through these hundreds like it ain't gon' last. Yeah, I'm smoking on something, and it ain't gon' pass. I remember J's in the peephole. Beat that game, no cheat code. All I know is G-code. Flip them O's at zeros. She wanna see how ego. Don't say but no hero. I hit that once, no sequel. Then pass it to my people. I started with nothing. Then left with a bag. She thought I was frontin'. Till I left with a damn right. Running through these hundreds like it ain't gon' last. Yeah, I'm smoking on something, and it ain't gon' pass.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back right here with the alternative WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. You can find us here every single Monday night, 11:55 p.m. until 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also find us on my YouTube channel, Melvin Taylor II. We are 17,000 and growing over there, so make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Also, you can hit my Patreon, patreon.com/Melvin Taylor II. To find out more ways in which you can support me. My bad, I just hit the chair right there twice now. That was my foot and it hurts. I don't know if y'all were able to hear that or not, but even if not, then just bear with me and know that my foot is going to be okay. All right, group chat news. So we need to get to, man. We talking about everything that you've been sending out in them group chats that you've been talking about, man. And right now, there are a couple different things that I'm I'm just ready to dive into it with y'all, to be honest. So before we get into any of that, let me say, yes, I obviously got to talk about Nick Cannon. Yes, I obviously have to talk about entanglements. And I'm also going to give an update on some of the cases that have been going on that we've been protesting about, because we need to make sure that we're keeping our eye on the ball. I can still get into celebrity news and everything with y'all, but we need to make sure we're keeping our eye on the ball. All right. With that being said, let's hop into group chat news. First thing I want to talk to you guys about, let's go to sports. NBA, right? James Harden was under fire on social media a little bit and had to have some people come to his defense because he put on a pretty cool mask per what he said, right? I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he thought that the mask that he had on was cool. People had an issue with the mask because it had a skull on it with a thin blue line, and it seemed as if it had a flag behind it. So a lot of people were like, yo, is James Harden supporting the police and against the Black Lives Matter protest and what's been going on? Now, I'm understanding that, I just thought it was cool and that I put it on. However, James Harden, you too far into this game to be using an excuse like that, bro. You're way too far into this game. You know how it is. I used to tell all my fraternity brothers in college, image is everything. So for you and the quote unquote reach that you have with the amount of followers, the amount of people that are paying attention, the amount of impressions you get every day, you got to know better than that, man. And somebody in your team, I understand that you not with everybody in your team, right? Somebody in your camp or one of the players on the Rockets got to be like, hey, bro, that's not the move. That's not the look. You the guy, and I gotta let you know that's not it, because I don't need you messing up your money, which is in turn gonna mess up everybody else's money, right? I did see that Meek Mill tried to come to his defense and be like, man, he's donated millions and blah, 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 and all of that. Y'all need to ease up off of him. Look, two things can be true at the same time. One, James Harden can have donated millions to justifiable causes, right? I don't even know if it's millions. I think it might have been thousands. I'm not too sure. I haven't been paying attention to what James Harden's philanthropy is. Let me let y'all know that. Two, James Harden could also mess up and put on the wrong paraphernalia. These two things can coexist at the same time. However, I'm just not listening to anything that Meek Mill got to say, because he be taking everything that somebody says out of context and taking it as a slight. Similar to how Michael Jordan be taking things personally, Meek Mill do that on a regular basis. So I'm not listening to anything that he got to say right now. I do love the fact, though, that Young Thug came out and said, hey, man, look, James Harden ain't really got data on his phone, so he don't even really be paying attention to everything that be going on like that. And I was like, fam, you know you lying, Thug, but we appreciate you just being a strong friend, bro. That was real nice. Like, I feel like if I'm ever in a tough situation, I need somebody like Young Thug to come to my defense with something that don't make no sense at all, but at least I know my homie got my back, type of thing, right? And Trey Songz was like, man, I'm gonna call it out. I'm gonna call it like I see it, since everybody else don't want to say nothing. This is clown behavior, basically. So I completely understand where Trey's coming from too, to be like, no, man, James, you know what's up, bro. Don't try and be like, oh, I was just trying to get around and I thought this was just cool. No. You know what's going on out here in these streets, bro. You in Houston, you know what the vibe is like. You in Texas, you know what the vibe is like, bro. Come on. Don't start doing stuff like this. Other things in the NBA, Russell Westbrook actually tested positive for COVID-19. So I'm hoping that he's going to have a quick and speedy recovery. It also adds fuel to the fire with a lot of people saying, yo, maybe we shouldn't even have an NBA season. So it shall be very interesting to see how that turns out, especially with him. I'm assuming now having antibodies and then going to play against other people. Does that mean that other people that he may sweat on or come into contact with, will they in turn get it? I'm still trying to understand myself what's going on, because someone within my family that I was in close contact with actually recently tested positive for COVID and corona. So now I'm trying to understand as much as possible. Obviously beforehand, I knew that this was a real thing, that this wasn't something that you can just like kind of throw flying out the window and be like, oh, whatever, this isn't real. But now that it's hit home, it's even more important and even more vital to me to make sure that the people that are around me are taken care of, and also to make sure that I can educate you all as best as I possibly can. So I'll be making sure to let y'all know that. And lastly, wrap up the NBA talk. Players leaving in and out the bubble. Fellas, I don't care if you're just trying to go get Postmates. You can't get it right now. You can't get it right now, bro. It's the one time in your life where you literally have to just abide by the rule. You cannot get past just because you good at playing a sport, bro. If you can't leave the bubble, don't leave the bubble. I don't care what food you order. And fam, even if Rick Ross pulled up to me and was like, Melvin, I got you the best lemon flavor wings, right? Lemon pepper flavor wings you've ever had in your life, right outside this bubble. I just need you to break and just come out here and get some. Rick, I'm sorry, I can't, bro. I can't. As much as I want to break this bubble to go get these delicious wings, bro, I can't do it. Some of these players need to understand that. And also, I saw Dwight Howard. Somebody had called the hotline and said, yo, Dwight was around, didn't have his mask on. And Dwight's immediate response was, why haven't the cops that killed Breonna Taylor been arrested yet? I listen, Dwight, I like it. I like what you're doing. Similar to the James Harden situation. Two things can be true at once. One, you can also be like, yo, my bad. Two, arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. Just putting that out there for me as that's what I think is going on. All right, I kind of wrote these notes out of order, but we're going to hop in with the sports and then go to everything else entertainment-wise. NFL, Washington. I'm glad they're changing their name. It would be awesome if they could actually do the Red Tails, but make sure that you also have some philanthropic work, because people will feel that you're infringing upon the name Red Tails if you're just using it just as a sports team. Make sure that you have the correct historical accuracies with it, that you're donating to Tuskegee Airmen-like causes. Also have like a museum or a type of shrine to honor them in the correct way. Have members of the Red Tail family or members that are still alive come to the games, actively talk about the experiences that they went through, especially because there was so much that happened in Tuskegee with the Tuskegee Airmen, how I wouldn't say how diminished their history has been, that I feel as if would obviously benefit from attention like this, right? But just make sure you're doing it in the correct way. That's secondary right now, even though that's been a primary thing, obviously, to the women who have come out and basically been speaking about what their experiences have been like being a part of the Redskins team and saying, hey, this is what we were going through being cheerleaders, being women within the organization, and so on and so forth. Fam, I have like no thoughts about that whatsoever. It's just like, yo, what is going on? How is this something that can continue to happen right now? And obviously, we know that people with power, influence, right, can have a lot of things go on and people never find out about it. I'm very happy to hear that these women are coming out and telling their story. And yo, y'all need to get Dan Snyder up out of there, Washington. I don't know what y'all need to do. I know that he's been the owner for a long time and that he always like never changed the name of the team and all of this. Perfect time right now to do it. See, y'all think the advertisers right now are only kidding about pulling their money? Imagine if he stays on with all this going on. It's only going to get worse. Please get him up out of there and do what y'all can. Up next, I don't know if we're going to have a season in the NFL, because what plan do they, what testing are they really going to do? You going to allow people to hit on each other, tackle each other, all of that, right? But they can't jersey swap at the end of the game? After I've just been sweating, potentially bleeding, hitting this opposing person the entire time? I feel as if the NFL is way smarter than this, but due to the history in which they've been showing us so far, they really not. So I need them to go ahead and get this together, because this don't make no sense. Your plan makes no sense. What are you doing? Somebody help me out with this. Like, please comment down below what you think, or I'm saying comment down below because this will be going on YouTube. But also, you can reach out to us using the hashtag #TheAltWithMel. Let us know what your thoughts are to the Instagram page, Facebook page, and Twitter page, or obviously comment on YouTube, or reach out to us via email. You know, you can hit us on the email, thealtwithmel@gmail.com. Send us questions, comments about the show, all of that, and let us know what your thoughts on what the NFL is doing so far, because clearly they need to get it together. Up next, WNBA. I think this is going to be second to last. Oh, actually, before I go to WNBA, because I need to loop this into the NFL talk. Can we talk about Patrick Mahomes real quick? Shout out to him for getting a $500 million for a contract. I need to call my cousins and my family, because I may have a cousin in Kansas City that I ain't talked to ever in my life, and I need him to know that we cousins, that he can support me in everything that I'm doing right now. Like, if anybody right now is a part of the Taylor family and you in Kansas City, reach out to your boy and let me know what's up, because I need to talk to Patrick Mahomes and see where down the bloodline are we related. Because I need to, just let him know that his cousin is doing well out here, could use some financial support. I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes is going through so many people right now that's coming out the woodwork being cousins right now. And I'm super excited to hear the different stories later that we're going to hear his career, right? About the people that reached out to him during this time period. Because there's some that he can tell, there's some that he cannot. I want to hear the ones that he's like, nah, this got to be in the vault for later. Like, I can't wait to hear that. Moving on to the WNBA. I think that it's insane that Delle Don, right? Like, how is this entire situation going on with Elana Delle Don? And they're saying that they're basically forcing her to play. So she, for those of you that don't know, Elana Delle Don is a really big WNBA player, right? She's like a star in the league, you could say. Not you can't say, you would have to say, right? And she's also fighting chronic Lyme disease to the point to where she has to take up to, I believe it's like 32 pills a day, or if I'm what I had before was saying 64 pills, but it might be, I think it's either she has to take them twice a day, or or she just has to take 64 overall. I'm not sure the frequency, but that's the amount of pills that she has to take basically a day fighting Lyme disease, right? She had some doctors of hers say, probably be best if, due to her condition, right, due to the disease she has to fight and corona being a thing, it's probably best she just sit out this whole WNBA season. WNBA team doctors said, nah, she can play. What? Somebody has to take this many pills a day to be okay when this outbreak wasn't going on. Now you want to put her future, her life in jeopardy even more so by being like, no, you're going to get here and you're going to play this basketball. I know we got to make money, but because there are no sports going on, people are going to watch. So what sense does it make to force one of your star players to play while she could potentially die? I don't get that. Like, if people volunteering, you're saying, I'm willing to go put my life on the line, sure. Clearly she's uncomfortable by having these doctors come out and say, it don't make sense. And even her saying, she's showing pictures of her hand with the amount of pills she got to take on a daily basis.
Ay, it's daily. Yeah. You ain't been a man for a minute. 3 racks on a tennis bracelet. I ain't playing tennis, getting bread with all my trying to start a family business. I just left the interview and got some when I was finished. I'm back. Probably at a private location in a trap. Somewhere at a trap that you can't find on Google Maps. When I say nobody with me, I'm just stating facts. Calling me about your girl, I'm like she's somewhere in the back. But on trap, when my finished, we gon' send her back. You ain't been it for a minute, I just knew that wouldn't last. Shorty reaching out my bag, I'm like, you ain't gotta ask. I keep thinking about my losses, trying to keep them in the past, yeah. Fell asleep with texts from my ex. Woke up, then I counted me a check. Stop being them boy, what you expect? Stop being them boy, what you expect? Client Tucky blowing on my phone. Wanna cause I'm on. Wonder if they gon' love me when I'm gone. Wonder if they gon' love me when I'm gone. Goddamn, how the f we gon' get rich if you ain't sticking to the plan? Take them hundreds out the safe and put them all in rubber bands. They head straight back to the spot, pick up all the work you can, I'm lit. Probably in the Uber getting brain from you. Heard you telling her you love her, heard you paying out rent. See my number in the phone, know that making you sick. That set the trap, she don't know this where I live, yeah. Daily getting bread from a daily always driving different whips. Daily getting rich from taking risks. Daily always fly, keep 'em pissed, ayy. Fell asleep with texts from my ex. Woke up then I counted me a check. Stop been them boy, what you expect? Stop been them boy, what you expect, ayy. Client Tucky blowing on my phone. Wanna cause I'm on. One of they gon' love me when I'm gone. One of they gon' love me when I'm gone, yeah.
When I step in the club, pull up the drink, I'm just trying to cut a rug. Link with the fam and make it do what it does. Ain't throwing no sub, all the above. Trying to catch a vibe, back in the days like Mary J. Blige. No more drama, first round's on me, toast to more commas. Get it by any means, that's on mamas. Showstopper, spit game popper. We bout to run the game, grab the kicks out the locker. We on a roll, can't nothing stop us. Raising the bar a couple notches. They know what time it is, they all watching. We ain't give them no other options. That's the word around town. You gotta get up to get down.
It's a party over here like Kid and Play. It's finna go down. Silly sale, man, I'm on the way. Been a long week and I just wanna unwind. Leave the drama at the door, I'm here for good times. Just got paid, bills all paid, fresh cut, Sam Bam, I'm blazed. I'm looking good when I come through. Drink in my hands and I'm doing my 1-2. A lot of women in the crowd and the vibe is all good. Hella smoke in a place again, I'm bake with the backwoods. In the show being loud as usual. They in the 7, he reclining. I don't know what to do with you, but we all here together. It's beautiful through the ups and the downs. We the union for show. For the better or worse, it's a gift and a curse. Before they put me 6 feet, I'ma have a drink first.
Get down tonight, down tonight, bound the crowd. Get down tonight, down tonight, just get down. Get down tonight, down tonight, bound the crowd. Get down tonight, just get down.
You know, Dago getting down tonight, LA getting down tonight. The Bay getting down tonight, the A getting down tonight, MIA, you know they getting down tonight, NY they getting down tonight, the Midwest getting down tonight, East and West we getting down tonight.
Get down tonight, down tonight, bound the crowd. Get down tonight, just get down. Get down tonight, bound the crowd. Get down tonight, just get down.
That looks insane. It looks like somebody took a bunch of Halloween candy and poured it in her hand. She has to take that every day to survive. I feel like the WNBA definitely needs to get their stuff together because that makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like if the NBA had something like this, not only would they not have them not playing, right? Ain't no way they playing. They also gonna make sure that they can do whatever they can to support this person, right? Make sure that it's on every storyline out there, right? They're going to use this and to also highlight the community because I'm pretty sure people with chronic Lyme disease aren't talked about as much as everything else is going on. And the NBA will make sure that that's something that goes on. I need them to have that same energy for this right now. The WNBA needs to do it and then the NBA needs to echo it, is what I'm saying. because it's no excuse. I don't care how good Elana Delle Don is. There's no excuse for forcing her to play. That's just downright disgusting to me. Last thing with sports that I really wanted to go into was that today, day I'm recording this, would have been Stuart Scott's 55th birthday. Stuart Scott is one of those people that when I was coming up, right, that I looked at on TV and said, yo, that's who I want to be like. You know, that's a role model to me. That's somebody that loves his job, has fun with his job, and I can identify with wanting to be in that position one day. I mean, I grown up in the 90s, early 2000s, right? Yes, obviously we had role models and figures on TV to watch, but more often than not, they were involved in hip hop or entertainment in ways that were pretty risque by my family standards at that point in time, right? So there's no real way that I could be like, I mean, I could probably put some of those people as like posters and whatnot on my wall. My family gonna look at me like I got, you know, eyes on the side of my head. Stuart Scott was one of those people that's like, yo, I can easily identify with him. My family can. He's good at what he does and he loves it. And that same love, passion, affection reverberates to me. And I was always saying that, man, I just want to get to SportsCenter one day and tell Stuart Scott, thank you for all the work that he did, because it truly inspired me to do everything that I'm doing now. It even inspires me in everything that I'm doing still to this day. And I'm kind of just jumping all over the board at this point, man. I'm just really sad that he isn't here to really see the fruits of his labor and see the next generation of people that he inspired to go out and fight for what they want and to go out and be as loud and as proud and as good as they want to be, man, and to be as cool as the other side of the pillow as he is, man. I remember the day that he passed, bro, I broke down crying. Because it's, you know, it's similar to, in the same vein, a lot of y'all have heard me talk about Nipsey and Kobe, right? As those are people that are on my Mount Rushmore, people that I'm looking up to, and how they were taken away from me. Stuart Scott is, I'm saying taken away from me, as in they inspired me, still do, through all the things that they did. Obviously, it's a lot more important that their families don't have them around anymore, right? Stuart Scott is on that Mount Rushmore for me as well. And I just really wish he was here to see the fruits of his labor, man, because he was such an incredible person, bro. And I'm trying to live up to being as cool as the other side of the pillow, as he would say, or to have my own catchphrase like booyah, like he would always do, man. So, you know, rest in peace to Stuart Scott. And I hope that his family is doing quite well right now. Moving on out of sports, the entire Naya Rivera situation just kind of messed me all up, man. And that was one of the times where I was like, yeah, I'm definitely taking a step back from social media right now, because it just really bothered me that she's just not here anymore. And I really don't want to detail the situation too much. Obviously, her and her son were out on a lake, and he had on a life jacket. And, you know, from reading the story, it seems that she did not. And she was able to get him back onto the boat to make sure that he was okay, but he wasn't found until hours later. And man, it just really breaks my heart that there's no telling what that little boy saw and what he's gonna have to live with for the rest of his life, man. And it just messes me up, man, that it has to go and be this way, man. So please make sure to send positive vibes, intentions, prayers, thoughts out to Naya Rivera and her family, and that little boy, man, because he's gonna need it. I'm glad that he still has his father around to help him out, but he's definitely going to need it moving forward in life. Moving forward into more entertainment news before we bring it back out and broaden our horizons, before we get to say it with your chest. Let's hop back into music real quick, because we got a couple different things that we can talk about with that, right? First things would be Logic, excuse me, I had a hiccup right there. Logic, the rapper, is going to be retiring. He says that he wants to spend more time being a father, and that his last album will be coming out, I believe Friday, is going to be called No Pressure. And honestly, I just want to say, how big of a flex is it that his first album was called Under Pressure and his last one is going to be called No Pressure? Let that sink in, man. I'm excited because, one, I'm not going to listen to this album when it first comes out. And the reason that I'm not going to listen to it, or I might change my mind, but the reason behind me saying that is that Logic has always been one of those rappers that I've known about but never really dived into his music all the way or in ways that I think I could have been able to. And knowing that he's going to submit his legacy with this last album means that now I have an entire catalog to be able to go through and experience with you guys in real time. So I'm excited to be able to go on that journey with you on YouTube, and I'm probably gonna start with the beginning of his career, even go back to some mixtapes and go all the way through up until No Pressure. So I'm excited to go on that journey with y'all, and I'm excited that Logic feels as if this is the time for him to be able to step away and onto more things, because with him being as creative as he has been throughout his career, I'm sure whatever he decides to do next, aside from just being a father, he's going to be great at. But I will say, he always gonna have that itch. So whenever he hop up on a feature, I'm excited to go run to that and check that out, because he gonna have something to say when it comes to that. Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. Can we protect black women? Real quick, if you don't hear anything else for the rest of the show, let's make sure we do a better job of protecting black women, because this make no sense. I'm still trying to figure out the full context of what's going on in this story, but did Tory have the gun and shoot it at Megan because she was trying to get out the car, felt uncomfortable and wanted to get out? Was he trying to protect her from somebody else? LAPD or Orange County PD or whatever they were, the police department over there also needs to be condemned for knowing that she was shot, but then also having her bleeding out on the ground and then having them spread out and whatnot. I get that that's normal procedure in some ways. Procedure needs to change, because that's crazy. I'm thankful that they helped her to get to the hospital in time so that she could heal properly, but it shouldn't have taken all the necessary steps that it did to be able to make that happen. I don't know if Tory and Megan were dating. If so, obviously they not no more. But if she felt the need to protect him and change the story so that way he wouldn't get in as much trouble, that again goes back to show you, and I know we didn't have this conversation on the radio show, and I had it on the video, so definitely go check it back out, for J. Cole and No Name, where we need to do a better job of protecting black women. Because we see J. Cole came out and said these things about No Name, right? And said, yo, she referencing me, she talking to me. Let me say something back to her. Let me, check your tone when you talking to me and all this stuff, right? When black women are the ones who go to bat for us unquestionably, unequivocally, and faster than anybody else. And now we have things like this come out. And that adds to why so many women were upset when the whole J. Cole thing happened. Because we had just seen, nobody's talking about Breonna Taylor as much. We had the whole Nakia Crawford situation going on. We had the whole Toyin situation going on and how she was abused and then murdered, right? Then we saw the videos of the dudes that hit the girl with a skateboard. And then we had another video of the dudes that threw the black woman in the garbage can. And then you had the J. Cole No Name thing where that came out of the blue. And now you got this. So I can get why black women man, we just gonna be quiet because y'all not fighting for us the same way we fighting for y'all. We gotta be better. Moving on. DJ Akademiks got fired from Complex and I believe is banned for life from Twitch. I was like, yo, that's wild, bro. That is insane. He's banned for life. And I know that a lot of this came from obviously him talking about John Legend's wife, Chrissy Teigen. But in addition to doing that, he was also going back and forth with Meek Mill on Twitter. And obviously Meek is in a position where he can just make music for the rest of his life and he'll be just fine. Whereas Akademiks can still make videos on YouTube, right? But I'm sure Twitch was a large portion of what he was doing. Now, maybe he can go to another platform, maybe be able to monetize in the same way. But obviously that's going to hurt him a lot. It's going to hurt him a ton. Where this whole situation is kind of coming to head for me, and the reason why I'm speaking on it is because you kind of knew at some point in time something like this would come up and happen to DJ Akademiks. Reason behind this is the way in which he talks about people and the way in which he came up. Think about how much money, influence, quote unquote power DJ Akademiks was able to build from talking about the quote unquote savages, which we'll get into all that later, right? the quote-unquote savages in Chicago, the gang violence that was going on in Chicago, the murders that were going on in Chicago, and the way that he reported it, if I can even call it reporting, the way that he discussed it, the way that he talked about it, the way that he sensationalized it, the way that he made a mockery of it. There are people that he made fun of that are dead and never coming back. And he was able to build his base off of all of that. So when you keep that energy out there, and that energy is how you make your money, that energy is how you make your way through all this, that's how you separate yourself from everybody, at some point in time, it's going to come back. And you know, I'm not that mad that it happened, because if a spot is open to talk about music and entertainment news on Complex, what up, y'all? I'm here because I know there are a lot more people who could do better with that position out there. So we'll see what's going on with that. All right, bringing it back out to broad news before we hop back into some music and then go to Say It With Your Chest. Already said before, we probably gonna have to shut down again because so many people were just treating COVID like it wasn't really a thing. And these cities are probably gonna have to shut down. I know LA is talking about shutting down again and closing a lot of things that they open back up because so many people were like, oh, excuse me, not LA. I want to say California in general because of how things were going on, right? In my travels between being in Chicago and being back in New York, I saw the same thing. I definitely saw a ton of people that were out here acting as if Corona wasn't a thing, not wearing masks, not distancing, you know, and now we're going to have to close again. I'm not sure what people were taking away from what was going on or what they thought was actually happening, or they thought everything was a hoax. This is real, guys. This is real. This is not something to play with. This is not something to mess around with. And the fact that y'all are treating it like that means that this is only going to get worse. There's no way we should be the epicenter of the world for all of this. We have the tools and the resources, and I thought we had the wherewithal to be able to say we can be better than this, but clearly we don't. Clearly we don't. America right now is the ghetto to the rest of the world. You know, everybody else out having fun, and we looking like, my mama said, I can't go outside right now. We need to get it together, y'all. Definitely need to get it together. I don't know how, but if you've seen anybody out there that's not been distancing, not been acting in the way in which they should have been, please help them get themselves together. Last thing, last two things that I want to talk about, group chat news, are why in the world are we talking about going back to school, sending kids back to school? Betsy DeVos said that only 0.02% of children will die as a result of schools opening back up. Somebody on Twitter, shout out to La Louve Rouge, did the math on that and said that's 14,740 kids that will die because y'all want to reopen schools. Do y'all not know the schools already don't have enough resources to be able to do everything that y'all got, that y'all need to have happen? Haven't we addressed the inequality with the schools that's going on already? How y'all saying, oh, teachers can get supplies or they can use their budgets. Teachers been doing that. Now they got to go get more supplies that are not there because other people are gobbling them up. Word to the tissue paper. $14,740 kids would die. That's the 0.02%. That's about 40 times the number of school shooting victims from the last 10 years. Wake up and realize the America we still living in, y'all. It ain't all peaches and cream like everybody thought it's been. Ain't no way it's been that. Last thing, group chat news. Unemployment and stimulus checks. Right now it's looking like we may get another stimulus check, but we not gonna get any more unemployment. Y'all do know that there are people out there that are still waiting to receive their unemployment, right? There are people that are out there waiting to get the first stimulus check. So when all this is over with, the amount of people who will end up losing their homes, their apartments, the homelessness will only increase. Which honestly, if we looked into where a lot of money in America is going, a lot of military or sending it to other countries or so on and so forth, a lot of that could be used to fix homelessness here and to fix hunger here. But all that about to go up now because people out here can't get jobs if we can't really go outside or if places aren't hiring. You have a record number of people that are unemployed right now. And you want to stop giving them money to help them through this time? If y'all don't take nothing else away from today's show, aside from protecting black women, vote this man out of office. And don't just vote him out of office. Make sure you're paying attention to your local elections as well, because those are the people that are also making decisions that directly affect you. Pay attention to your local leaders, your aldermen, your senators, Congress in general. Pay attention to all of that, because that matters more now than it ever has before in terms of what's going to happen next. All right, y'all, we're going to come back with Say It With Your Chest. And also, we got to talk about who was tailored this week, who was untailored this week. August Alsina, and more. Let's get back to some of the music. You remember, you are tuned into The Alternative with Melvin Taylor, right here. WHR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. Don't go nowhere.
You kinda remind me of a goddess. Smooth, nice legs with a Coca-Cola body. Hey, mommy, I'm trying to show you off to everybody. Smooth, operated, true, Rasta, $1. Hey, mommy, you kinda remind me of a goddess. Smooth, nice legs with a Coca-Cola body. Hey, mommy, I'm trying to show you off to everybody. Smooth, operated, true, Rasta, $1. Hey, mommy, I'm trying to show you off everywhere. Versace and Louis, I count that by the pair. Addicted to gold, that's all over my body. Hey, mommy, you gifted, got a nice little body. Yeah, mommy, throw it back, make it go dummy. When I take you home, better take my soul from me. When I was there, bro, I swear ain't a soul want me. The devil trying to get me, he can't take my soul from me, no. I can't go. Shorty make a clap for a real Don Dada. Make that boom bada, I was born Rasta. I've been getting to it, ballin' like a gold trotter. Hey, mommy, you kinda remind me of a goddess. Smooth, nice legs with a Coca-Cola body. Hey, mommy, I'm trying to show you off to everybody. Smooth, operated, true, Rasta, $1. Hey, mommy, you kinda remind me of a goddess. Smooth, nice legs with a Coca-Cola body. Hey, mommy, I'm trying to show you off to everybody. Smooth, operated, true, Rasta, $1. Hey, mommy, I just fell in love with your body. Rub them nice legs in that Coca-Cola body. Yeah, mommy, tell me if you really tryna ride. Put them legs up, make them legs touch the sky. Yeah, mommy, I'm trying to keep this to myself. We can go for a throttle, don't forget your seatbelt. You was with me in the beginning for the fame and the wealth. Now I'm dedicated, patient, put them on the shelf. Yeah, now I'm trying to touch her back door. Yeah, yeah. Bend it over, smack that door. Yeah, yeah. Bring your like a match smoke. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm kissing on her tattoo. Yeah, yeah. She getting ready, making sure that out. Gotta worship in the kid because I blow that back out. Put a sack up in the pocket, but I'm not the cash out. She got her own throne, sitting tall, just bow down. They say, get her, I got it. They want her, I know. Flashing and classy, these bitches is trash and she on. Building her up, she never be touching the floor. All eyes on her when she walking through the door. Hey, mommy, you kinda remind me of a goddess. Smooth, nice legs with a Coca-Cola body. Hey, mommy, I'm trying to show you off to everybody. Smooth, operated, true, Rasta, $1. Hey, mommy, you kinda remind me of a goddess. Smooth, nice legs with a Coca-Cola body. Hey, mommy, I'm trying to show you off to everybody. Smooth, operated, true, Rasta, $1. Hey, mommy.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back right here to The Alternative with Melvin Taylor. Remember, you can find us every single week, Monday nights, 11:55 p.m. until 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, Melvin Taylor. All right. And remember, you can find us on social media, The Alt with Mel, TheAltWithMel. That's where you can find the show everywhere. Why do I always forget to do that? Like, y'all can literally find the show everywhere. We would love for y'all support to pull up on the show like that. So definitely make sure that you go ahead and do it. Okay. Had to clear my throat a little bit. Say it with your chest. So, these are some of the topics where I talk even more in depth, more so than group chat news about what's been going on right now. And I just kind of want to get into it, not really dance around it, as y'all know, because we still got a show to maintain here and we got to get in and get out. First thing that I want to speak with you guys about is the updates on the cases that we have been out here fighting, protesting, and speaking about on social media. Now, with Breonna Taylor, per CNN, on the 18th of this month, update came that she indeed was alive for 5 to 6 minutes after being shot. Now, according to a claim made in a lawsuit filed by Breonna's mother against Brett Hackinson, Miles Cosgrove, and Jonathan Mattingly, the 3 Louisville Metro Police Department officers identified in connection to her death. Quote, Breonna was unarmed in her hallway, struck by several rounds of gunfire. She was not killed immediately. Rather, she lived for another 5 to 6 minutes before ultimately succumbing to her injuries on the floor of her home, the lawsuit alleges. Now, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, claimed in an interview with police investigators that Breonna was coughing after being shot, and the police, obviously, as we know now, right, and this is me interjecting in, let's get back to the quote, did not rush in to try and help her after she was shot, allegedly, according to recordings released by Walker's lawyer. Now, here's what started to make me upset about all of this, right? Obviously, police should have done a lot better of a job than what they did in the handling of this case. Moving forward, people were saying that all this was justified because Breonna's boyfriend fired at the cops. Therefore, you know what? This is what happens when her boyfriend shot. He shouldn't have shot. They'd be fine. Now, I want you to understand that this is them talking from their privileged lives. This is them talking from their lifestyle, their point of view of what's going on. Based on the comments that I've heard about the area in which they lived in, which was looking as if it was going to be gentrified at some point to make way for a new wave of people to come into the area, right? Probably means that right now it isn't the best of areas. So if somebody were to bust into your house after you repeatedly asked and called out, who is it? The hinges on your door come off, as any man would at that point in time. My immediate instinct is to protect. I need to protect my girlfriend and myself from whatever threat is coming through my door. So that is why he shot. Furthermore, why didn't the police identify themselves? That would have made a world of a difference in this case. We would still have Breonna be alive in that case. But that's not what happened. So I can completely understand why her boyfriend shot at the cops. Because he didn't know they were cops. He just thought somebody's trying to bust down my door and get us. And in retaliation, they shot I don't know how many bullets and it didn't check on her. And then we hear the story about the report not even saying that she had any injuries. And that her body was left there. It's infuriating. And it adds to why people are so upset about this case. And like I mentioned earlier, why black women in particular are so upset about this case. Right? There's something that all guys have, which is called male privilege. There's certain things we're not going to go through because we're guys. There's certain things women are going to go through because they're not guys. So even as black men, we have the privilege of not going through some things that black women will go through. This is one of those things where they're just left behind. They're just not talked about as much. People are memeing the Breonna Taylor situation. Saying, yeah, I know, it's all cool and all, but arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. Oh man, that's a nice burger that you arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. This needs to be treated with care. The same care that we gave George Floyd. The same care that we gave Ahmaud Arbery. We need to make sure we're extending that same care and grace to Breonna Taylor in this situation. Going over to Ahmaud Arbery, all 3 of the men that were in the case Let me just read you what NPR got instead of me trying to paraphrase it. All 3 white men charged in the death of black jogger Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia pleaded not guilty this past Friday. Gregory McMichael, his son Travis McMichael, and William Rhodey Bryan Jr. pleaded not guilty to the counts against them, which include felony murder. Now, the Chatham County Superior Court Judge Timothy Walmsley denied bond for Bryan, saying he was concerned about Bryan being a potential flight risk, as in the guy who took video, allegedly just only took the video, might be a flight risk. Now, what makes this story even more interesting, right, is that First Coast News stated this. On Friday morning, the state argued that one of the 3 men accused in the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery would pose as a flight risk if granted a bond because of his role in an ongoing sex crimes investigation. That's the reason for why he would be a flight risk. Now, granted, we don't know what the actual crimes that he's being investigated for are just yet. I'm sure they will come to light at some point in time. But I think that's another interesting reason for why he really didn't want too much heat on him when this happened. He's like, I just took the video, take the video, go, like, leave me alone. Because he knew that would draw more attention probably to this investigation that's been going on. And even then, speaking about the same privilege, right, that we were talking about beforehand, all 3 of them have been arrested. Breonna Taylor's cops are not. They have not been arrested. We've seen pictures of one of the cops out on social media on the beach, enjoying time with his family. I just want to let that breathe for a second because I want you to understand why women in particular are and should be so upset about what's going on. It still doesn't make sense as to why those officers have not been arrested yet. Moving forward, in the George Floyd case, we're just going to be updating the 5 cases that I've been speaking about. Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Toyin, and then Nakia Crawford, just so that way you guys have an update on what's going on. And next week, I will research and find out what's been going on in the other cases that I mentioned a couple weeks ago. According to the BBC, George Floyd's family filed a lawsuit against the city of Minneapolis and the 4 officers charged in his death. Suit alleges, obviously, that the officers violated Mr. Floyd's rights when they detained him and that the city allowed a culture of excessive force and racism to take root in its police force, which, hey, when you think about the history of police officers, I can understand. I get it. And to some of those officers out there that say, all right, well, you abolish the police, what's going to happen? You're going to have, psychologists going to break up domestic disputes and whatnot? Here's my thing. Right, I may be in the minority about this. I'm not too sure. We can abolish the police. We can create a system where instead of police officers, they're peace officers. If you want to justifiably be officers of the law, how about we correct these laws and policies that have allowed this institutionalized and systemic racism to continue, ravage, and grow? We abolish that system and create an entirely new one. Where in the case of a domestic dispute, in the case of a domestic dispute, you could have a psychologist or a social worker on site, but you could also have a peace officer there. See, my big thing is, I don't really trust police officers, right? It's hard for me to, given everything that's been going on. And especially given their history. They were originally slave catchers. How am I going to say I need someone to work well within this system when the system was originally built to make sure that people like me were either killed or brought back to a plantation? That's what their job was for my ancestors. So no, I don't believe in that system. I want a new system. What's wrong with saying I want a new system? I'm sure there are some things that the police were doing that could be brought over into the peace officer system. Again, this is me going on my own tangent, right? I could be in the very small minority. I could be in the very big majority. I have no idea. I haven't really even dived into the topic all that yet. This is just me talking. As like, you know what would be a good idea? This sounds like a good idea to me right now. Let's just create a brand new system so people don't have to worry about that. And that when something like any of the two things that we've mentioned already, or the three things, that we've mentioned already, the cases that we've gone over, right? The peace officer union would have to make sure that the punishment fit what these officers did. But you will have less cases of what's going on. Why? Because these peace officers would have the adequate training to go through what they should do in these situations. That's just me. Moving on, about the George Floyd case, 3 of the officers have been released on bond. The only officer that is still behind bars is Derek Chauvin. This is why when people were celebrating, oh my God, they've been arrested. Are you happy, right? No. Oh my God, they've been charged. Are you happy, right? No. I'm not happy until they're serving time for what they did. That's when I'll be happy. That's when the system worked. And even then, it should still be a system of rehabilitation and to be better than what you were before. But that goes into the prison industrial complex and the prison system overall and how that's legalized slavery. That's an entirely separate conversation, right? While I do want Derek Chauvin to sit in jail for what he did, I still do think that the conditioning that got him there can be worked on. As a human, that's what I believe, and that's what I think should happen. But I can only handle so much at one point in time. So we have to make sure that he's put in jail first, and then we can worry about how people similar to him that end up there can be rehabilitated properly. Oluwatoyin Salu. Now, this case obviously took social media by storm and was very hurtful to a lot of us. But per People magazine on June 22nd, in newly released court documents, authorities in Florida alleged that Aaron Glee Jr. confessed several times to kidnapping and murdering Oluwatoyin Salu and longtime volunteer Victoria Sims, who both recently befriended each other during demonstrations over police brutality and systemic racism. I don't think that this case has been brought up as much because Aaron Glee Jr., from everything that I've seen, is not a white person, because he is a black man. I think that it's kind of faded into the shadows, but I still think that it is, again, a sort of privilege that guys have to where this isn't talked about as much. This is somebody that was fighting for the same things that I was just speaking on, but now her case is pushed to the side. That's not fair. We're still addressing racism, systemic oppression, right? Especially within the police force, within America overall. We still need to fight that. But we need to make sure that Aaron Glee is put in jail as well. We need to make sure he pays for what he does. Because I'm not going to detail it for you, but he went into what he did to both of them over the days of them being kidnapped. The same system that he's going to have to go through should be the same thing that these officers need to go through. Should be the same thing that the 3 individuals that allegedly were all in the Ahmaud Arbery killing need to go through. Right? They all need to go through the same system. And within that system, they all need to properly be rehabilitated. Doesn't mean that they are going to get out anytime sooner, but they can still lead very justified lives within that after properly going through what can be done to help fix them. It just bothers me that this one is even a story. Man, this is just a young woman that fell on hard times and needed protection due to people coming after her, sought that out in someone, and it happened to be a bad apple. It happened to be somebody that was messed up. It bothers my soul, man, because I can understand why black women in particular are so upset about this and people just brush it under the rug. The same thing, which I'm going to wrap up the cases that I'm talking about right now, happened with the Nakia Crawford situation, right? What I'm speaking about is that her family came out and said that the same lawyer that was going to represent them apparently bailed on them after he learned that the suspect was black. It's not okay. It's not okay. And for people saying, what about black on black crime? It's not really a thing. I hope y'all know that was a term that was coined to be able to create, more division and more talking points. Because if black on black crime is a thing, then white on white crime is a thing, and that happens at a way larger rate, right? You should also talk about other ethnic groups as well and crime on crime in those communities, right? Statistically speaking, you are more likely to commit crimes in the neighborhood in which you're around. And another reason why I really don't subscribe to the black on black crime thing is because of this. Nobody has ever killed anybody that is black because the person that they had issues with were black. Let me say that again. In any of these black on black crimes, no black person has killed another black person just because they were black. They've killed another black person due to the situation that they were in, due to the system that they're living in that's been placed upon them and made them fight and scrap for all these different resources, and that is allowing them to barely hang on, to barely survive. That is why these things happen. That is why gangs were created. Because people in the communities needed protection. Later on down the line, did some of those values change? Of course. That's why we got all the things that are going on now. They were originally created to help people, specifically black people that are living within this system that is not built for them, but is built to oppress them. Why is that an important thing? Because in the cases that I laid out earlier, these people died because they were black. In none of these black on black crime situations has anybody just died because they were black. That is the difference. That's why I get so upset whenever somebody's like, oh, but what about black on black crime? It's not a real thing. And if you want to look into it, why would that even be a thing? It would be a thing because the system that we're in is oppressing people. Address the system. When you address the system, we can eradicate a lot, if not majority, of these problems that people are going through. But, I don't know what I'm talking about. Next week, in addition to speaking about the other cases, I'm also going to update on what's going on in Portland, because I see that it's getting crazy out there. And I really want to make sure that I can understand fully what's going on and contextualize it in a way to make sure that I can relate it back to you guys and that it's understandable. Now, up next, y'all know I have to talk about it at some point in time, man. We got to talk about the Smith family and the word entanglement. All right, y'all. Here are my thoughts on this situation. I want to work with Will Smith one day. Will Smith is on my Mount Rushmore. Him and the following person I'm going to talk about, Nick Cannon, but we're going to get to Nick later. Will Smith is definitely up there on my Mount Rushmore, right? As a young black man that wants to work in the entertainment industry, there's no way that Will Smith ain't on your Mount Rushmore. All right? Let's keep it two Virgils with that. Now, the reason why I wasn't as shocked about this whole situation, I've been known about this. I was more shocked that people were talking about it in this way. Now, where it got out of line for me, right? I did find it funny, we ride together, we die together, bad marriage for life. That was funny. I did find it funny that, Will had to pull it out of her, even though, we can have a real honest conversation about why Will had to pull that word entanglement and the word relationship out of Jada to really address what was going on, since Black Twitter made it their business, But what bothered me with all of this is the fact that August made it this public. Because from what I understood, from what I knew, it had been addressed years ago, had been taken care of and all parties had moved on, right? And August was using this in a way for album promotion. Now, what I will say is that if August truly missed out on deals, missed out on opportunities to further his business because of the way people perceived or because of background information that the public or we don't know yet about what was going on then, as a way to be like, nah, that can't happen because you involved in this, then in a way I completely get him being like, oh, okay, so since this is a part of my business, I'm gonna talk about it. I can understand that. Where I was like, is that the fact that Will Smith got to go through this, man. Now let's keep it two versions. We know Will was doing his own thing on the side. I was crying at y'all really having Margot Robbie trending like that. And some of them tweets where y'all was talking about, hey, let's not act like Will Smith ain't put up Will Chamberlain numbers with his movies and what his, you know what's going on. Hey man, look, I'm trying to work with Will one day. That's my guy. So I'm gonna leave Will alone, bro. I just need just leave Will out of this, man. Leave him alone, bro. Leave Will alone. He going through enough right now. Bro. Y'all making jokes about him. He got to deal with this at home, bro. Yo, somebody put up a tweet that had me, I was literally like, my stomach was hurting from how much I was laughing. Where somebody was like, yo, Will got to deal with the month of August coming up, right? And everything that Aug represents. You got to deal with the fact that Willow at one point in time was writing Tupac letters. Jaden was calling Tyler the Creator his dad, even though I know that was like a joke. You know, Trey wasn't really associating with Will at one point in time, but I'm glad that they mended their relationship and everything is fine now. On top of Will trying to hold all this together while still be a global superstar. Man, there's a lot. There's a lot to go through. And it's kind of just an unspoken contract when, you know, you messing with somebody in that situation where you like, you know, me and Will, you know, we spoke about it and he gave me his blessing. Bro, you don't talk about things like this in a situation like that. You just don't. You leave that alone. And here's what I will say about August as well. The fact that you were in this situation in the first place already means that, yo, man, when this is over with, obviously all of this is between us. You ain't got to go out here airing all this out. And what should have set August off, and the one thing that I've been talking to people about, is that when you have a married couple that doesn't divorce, they're just always separated, that should let you know in a sense what you kind of in for. And that this, whatever it is that you're going through, may have an end date at some point in time. Now, I understand that every couple isn't like that, but y'all got to understand that the Smiths ain't a regular couple and that their brand as a family is very important to them all being together. That is why I said August put himself in a difficult situation in the first place. Like, hey, yeah, you got to be quiet about it, but you got to know going in at some point in time, they may want to reconcile this because it makes more sense financially for them to be together than to not be together because of how long they've been together and what they built together. If it was a regular everyday couple, yeah, they can go ahead and be separated for forever and probably live like that forever. But because they never divorced, you know, they're financially going to be tied together. Through the government's eyes, they're going to be tied together. So they're still going to have a say in each other's affairs. In a situation like this, bro, you got to go in knowing, hey, man, at some point in time, they probably going to work this out. So I'm going to just get in where I can and then bounce. Maybe that was hard for August because of everything he was going through. But that's when he should have leaned on, I need to talk to Will about the situation, more than going to talking to Jada and being involved in an entanglement with her. Speaking of entanglement, man, I also see that August dropped a song with Rick Ross titled Entanglement. Boy, you foul. You foul. You foul. Why is he foul? I listened to a couple songs off of August's album. The first song, Nola, oh, yo, if y'all haven't heard that Chopped and Screwed, honestly, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. The Chopped and Screwed version is fire, right? But August, obviously because he was able to reach these levels of R&B fame already, clearly can make a good song. You get an R&B song with Rick Ross on it? Oh, you playing the game. I like where his head is at as a marketer. As a marketer, I'm like, oh, he know what he doing, bro. This ain't never gonna pop to be like number one on the charts, but it's gonna do enough to make people be like, oh, this is cool. You know, it's gonna have its little moment. I still gotta listen to the song in full, but just because of everything that the song is talking about, the powers to be ain't gonna let that pop all the way. You gonna have your little, all right, cool, yeah, you had your moment, your weekend. That ain't gonna be number 5 on the Billboard charts, though. That's not gonna happen. So in essence, he's only, again, hurting himself more because he's profiting off of this right now. Like next year this time, if he releases an album, is he gonna have the same notoriety around it? That's why I said he put himself in a tricky situation, because moving forward, people will remember you for all of this and for the word entanglement more than they will your music. Yes, if it's bothering you, you should address it in some way. I think that you should in therapy more so, instead of putting it out there for everybody to now speculate about all the business between y'all. But now it's going to be seen more as a gimmick and a joke rather than you healthily talking about it the way in which you wanted to. Now people are going to remember you as the button to wrap up the word entanglement rather than talking about how good your album would be. So that's where I'm at on that whole situation, man. Leave Will Smith alone. He going through enough. Hey, Joyner Lucas right now needs to come back out and throw a diss track at August for the way that he probably talking about Will on that record. Like I from what people's reactions are, y'all like, hey, he going in right now on what's happening. I don't need Will to come out and address this, bruh. He addressed it already. He can leave it alone. It's kind of like in the Eminem MGK situation. Bruh, you only look bad when you start going down to fight. That's why I said, in my opinion, MGK won. Because even no matter how good Eminem's rap would have been coming back, the mere fact that MGK got you fighting him is enough of a win for him. Will Smith, do not put out no track against August. Leave this situation alone. You're just like, oh, whatever. A small chink in the armor, I'm moving on. That's how somebody in Will's situation got to handle it. August got to do whatever he can right now to maximize this time and attention he's getting. Similar to what MGK had to do. And if you continue to do good music and build, similar to what MGK's been doing this quarantine, people, you know, your fans going to come and support you. But we'll see if August's going to be able to do that moving forward, because I don't know. I don't know. We got to let time tell it. Similar to how MGK did, we got to let time tell it. Moving on to another person that's on my Mount Rushmore, Nick Cannon. Now, here's the main thing, or here's the first thing that I'm going to say. Obviously, I don't condone what Nick Cannon was talking about, right? Now, I'm not going to play the clip for y'all because obviously they've removed the clip from YouTube. And I'm sure all y'all have seen, especially y'all that's listening this far into the show, watching, whatever the case may be. I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you very much. But y'all seen the clip. I had to speak with a Jewish friend of mine to really understand what anti-Semitic meant so that I could wrap my head around what was going on. And also, Andrew Schultz had a very eloquent explanation of it, which I thoroughly enjoyed and helped me to understand more of what it means to be anti-Semitic and to spew anti-Semitism. Now, here's what I want to say. Nick, and I believe he did know, but I think he thought he would be okay, should have known going into having this conversation with somebody that's looked at and viewed this way, this could go left. Reason being, because you're involved in so many different businesses, if you misstep in any way, people are going to come after you. Now, obviously, all white people ain't savages. And the whole, melanin is what allows us to not be as savage as other people. I don't believe that that's true either. But if you want to have a conversation around the history of messed up things white people have done, you could have that. If you want to have a conversation of on a global scale and historical scale, the things that white people in mass have done to other ethnic groups, you can have that conversation, right? That's a legitimate conversation. But what he was talking about then, or even, you know what, one more thing, if you actually want to have the conversation of who are the true Hebrews, who are really Hebrew, what people are Hebrew, you can have that conversation too, right? Because if you look at the makeup of the area, you're going to get some brown people that are Hebrews, right? I'm not just going to say only black people are Hebrews or only white people are Hebrews. Yes, you're going to have people of all colors that will be Hebrew. But if I'm looking at the area overall and who originates from that area, you're going to look brown. You're not going to be white. You probably won't be as black as people in Africa. Right? So if you want to have that conversation, that's even an okay conversation to have. Because you could say, you know what, I could break this down through history and say what people came from this area. Let's really talk about that and go back into history and see where everybody began to migrate. And then from there, we can say, okay, these are people who would be deemed Hebrew. These are the original people. You can have that conversation. But where you need to have that conversation at, and who needs to be in the room is what matters. Because if you're just talking about your opinion, that's what can get you into trouble. Whereas if you would have had somebody who understands the historical context of the area, if you would have had somebody who understands Jewish history in that room, right? If you would have had those two people to be in a room to say, okay, on this aspect, you're coming from facts. On this aspect, you supremely talk an opinion. Right? And you're getting close to rhetoric that white supremacists use for reasons why they want to eradicate not only black people, but also Jewish people. That's where you start to get in trouble. And I feel as if Nick knew this, but it was looked at as a platform of, you know what? Not that many people are paying attention to what's going on here. And unfortunately, it backfired. That's still my dude to this day. Like, that ain't never changing. It's still my guy. I'm riding with Nick. I don't think he should have been fired. And we're going to get into that business aspect of it right now. Why do I think he should have not been fired? Because we're talking about evening the playing field, right? That's what black people have been championing for. We want an even playing field. How many times has somebody that is white said something extremely racist and not been fired? How many times have they done something terrible and not been fired? They've been suspended and then came back. Or they had to go atone for what they did, you know, go to some sensitivity, some training, understand the history, aspects, and all of what goes on, what they were talking about, came back, was like, yo, my fault, my bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I did not mean my bad. Now, you know, some of them was doing it to protect the brand, but more often than not, they got that chance to do that. Nick didn't get that chance. He didn't get that chance with Viacom specifically. And what makes it so touchy now is that Nick has been with Viacom since the 90s, since he was a kid. So now they've set a precedent of, if you do something like this within our company, we're letting you go no matter how long you've been here. So now that puts everybody else on notice for, if anybody that is within the family does something like that, you got to understand these are the consequences, cut and dry. If you speak ill against any ethnic group, which obviously nobody should be doing that, right? And if you do it, then you need to be like, hey, yo, I that's not where I was trying to go with it. Especially if you meant nobody no ill will, apologize for that. Apologize for that, which Nick Cannon did, right? I don't think he was coming from a malicious place. I think he was coming from a place of, I want to help my people understand historically where we come from, right? And why more people need to get this. Viacom has put themselves in a position of, now, if somebody does speak out against anybody in any way, shape, or form like that, there is no transition to understanding we're going to help them learn. You immediately are out the door. So that's the precedent that they've set now going forward. On top of that, there are a lot of people that are now going to be out of a job because of this. If Wildin' Out never gets played again, imagine the amount of people that relied on that for a job. Not just the people on camera, Imagine everybody behind the scenes. If you go to IMDb real quick, right? Internet Movie Database, and Google Wildin' Out, you will see a treasure trove of people that work on that show that are now out of a job. I've seen some people say, well, they can just replace Nick Cannon. That show ain't the same without him, and y'all know that. How many years have they survived off of Mariah Carey jokes on him alone? He's built it into this thing where you can have fun. You can turn off your brain, just relax, and have a good time for 30 minutes. Without him, it's not going to be the same. Now, I don't know what the paperwork is because I know that he said he wanted his show back and wanted to take it elsewhere. Namely, Revolt, because Diddy was like, bring it over here, right? I don't know what the paperwork is in the new deal that he signed, so I'm unsure how that's going to happen or if that can even happen. But going back to evening the playing field was never even. So that's why people are upset that Nick Cannon lost his job. Because countless other times, white people have been able to say what they want and keep their jobs. Nick Cannon, and even after apologizing, is still no longer part of the Viacom family. Whereas Jimmy Kimmel disappeared to go on vacation after the whole blackface thing started to pop up again. And the song actually came out. Tucker Carlson, even though we know he on Fox News, so we know that's a whole different setup over there. They play by a different set of rules. Tucker Carlson will only condemn the comments made by Blake Neff, who was somebody that was on his staff, and then go on vacation for a little while, and then come back and do his job still. Whereas Nick Cannon is now no longer a part of the Viacom family. That's why people were upset. And again, I don't think Nick was coming from a bad place. I think he was coming from a place of, I want to teach my people about their history, right? But here's where even that gets tricky. Because there is so much history that is buried, that is not covered, you get in situations like this. If people knew who were the Semitic people, who were the Hebrew people, who originated from that area, if we had the true history and said, yes, there were black people, yes, there were brown people, yes, there are some white people, obviously that's how we have Jewish people today, this wouldn't be a conversation. But because that history is not spoken about, because that's not taught in schools, because it's only glanced over, we get in situations like this. Which I hope can be rectified. I don't want any of them people to lose their jobs. But we have no clue how all of this is going to turn out, man. So, Nick Cannon always going to be my dude. He's always on my Mount Rushmore. And I branded myself as the next Nick Cannon, Ryan Seacrest, Terrence J type of guy because that's what I want to do, right? I would love to host, produce TV shows, movies, all of that stuff, right? So this is something that is very near and dear to me that I hope is fixed soon because, man, this was a tough one. This was definitely a tough one, and I know a lot of people that rely on that stuff for a job. So I'm hoping that all of that can be corrected. So we'll see what's up next. Keep it locked right here. The Alternative with Melvin Taylor.
I know it's been a while, but life got in the way. Priorities first though. But let me talk my. Let me vent real quick. Woo! I took my time, Lord knows I've been patient. Praying for my downfall, I need you to keep waiting. Failure's not an option. Seeing me lose is not popping. I promise I'm not stopping. I'm heading to my goal and I never trust a soul. Cause most people don't love you to that moment that you blow. They watching your moves, they counting your dough. They plotting on the low, trying to line you for your go. No time for the drama with the BS, you can miss me. Kick them goofies out my circle, send them packing back to Disney. Watch you around, you must be eyeing your pocket. So I do this on my lonely, I'm the captain of the cockpit. Foolish to think those I love just wouldn't hurt me. Thought we was the same team, you had a different jersey. Young and mistakes, I don't make it now that I'm grown. So when I'm getting on, I'm gone.
I ain't got no time to waste for nobody. I'ma make sure my family's straight. No worries. They don't wanna see you win, they just wanna see you fall. It's time to put them all, teach you how to ball. Yeah.
Struggle with my whole life is fighting demons, but the angel on my shoulder talk to me like don't feed him. Show me that fake friends, these friends I don't need them. They only go on temple finding things don't believe in. Cruel world, rep that to the death of me. Anywhere I go, you know who riding left of me. They won't give you flowers alive so you can smell them. When you die, shirts with R.I.P. on it just to sell them. Middle finger to a mole, get it like a savage. Gotta want it way more than they don't want you to have it. Keep it circle small, not everyone deserve access. When you hear no support till you die backwards. Cheers to hitting platinum before I go in the casket. Accept me for me and everything I'm attached with. So if you coming at me, know I come. Always well equipped and want my tits with the dick.
I ain't got no time to waste for nobody. I'ma make sure my family's straight. No worries. They don't wanna see you win, they just wanna see you fall. It's time to put them all, teach how to ball. God, keep your circle small.
Alright, y'all, remember you are tuned into The Alternative with your man Melvin Taylor right here on WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. You can listen to us every single Monday night, 11:55 p.m. until 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, we got to wrap up everything that we got going on here. Unfortunately, the show is only 2 hours long. I'm sorry, guys, but if you want more of this, tap into the show, man. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe on YouTube because I got a lot more coming for y'all relatively soon. We need to go ahead and say who was tailored this week, who was untailored this week. All right, so who stayed tailored this week? We got to give a shout out to both of the civil rights activists, veterans, leaders, heroes of the community that we lost on the same day, and that would end up being C.T. Vivian and John Lewis. Man, they both were leaders that we needed, leaders that were in the Martin Luther King circle, that were really helping us to push the narrative forward, to really push for the rights that so many people still to this day don't even feel, and that we desperately all needed at that point in time. And the fact that we lost both of them this week around this time, man, it just really hurts and really bothers me, man. But I'm hoping and I'm praying that we'll all be able to come together and at least fight for their memories and do what is right when it comes time to go to the ballot box and show that we are the ones that have true power come this election season this November. So who was untailored this week? Marco Rubio, number one, because he tweeted out a picture of Elijah Cumming and not John Lewis, even though he worked with John Lewis. And, I can understand that they both look kind of similar. However, no, you're somebody that's in this high up position. You cannot make these mistakes. You are not afforded the same mistakes that everybody else. So Marco Rubio, you got to do better. Untailored would be August Alsina. Why, bruh? Come on, dog. Come on, bro. That's where I'm at with it. I feel like I talked about it enough earlier today. I don't really need to dive back into it. The next thing I would say, the next group of people, actually, we're moving to a group of people for this one, who are untailored this week. Some, not all, some of the police officers who just still don't get it. Some people who are still saying that, you shouldn't be treating us like animals or like thugs, like criminals. And we're literally saying, welcome to what it's been like to be black for the past X amount of time, bro. This is what we're saying we go through on a constant basis. And all we're saying is stop killing us. That's literally it. So definitely them. And fourth, and the final person who's untailored this past week, Chance the Rapper. I can't even say I understand that you just want to, mix things up a little bit. I just think that you're completely wrong, bro. I think you're completely wrong. And the reason that I'm saying all this is because Chance was saying, you know what? Why don't we vote Kanye West for president? And he was being serious about it. I even listened to some of the Joe Budden podcasts and I had to cut it off to where he was like adamantly being like, no, like, are you, if you're black, you just been told vote Democrat. That's what you're supposed to do. When it's like, well, if both of these options, I don't like either one of them, why don't I pick somebody else? Because we need an adult in the room right now. Currently, at this point in time, I'm watching some of the highlights from Kanye West, South Carolina campaign rally that he's having right now. My man looks like he's just falling apart. No, I don't want any more celebrities like this to be put into the White House. to be put in charge, to be the leader of the free world. No, I don't want that. I want somebody who is a seasoned politician, who can be an adult in the room. Yes, Joe Biden may not be the absolute best candidate that we all wanted. That is not the case. It is a lot better than what 4 more years of what we're going through would look like. It is a lot better than 4 more years of President Trump. No. Well, Kanye is running on, he's gonna abolish the prison system, and he won't discriminate against people anymore, and he won't be doing this and he won't be doing that. Kanye can't even drop his own album on time right now. He can't even, the one thing that he is so much better than everybody else said, he can't even do that correctly right now. So no, that's your guy. You gonna cape for your guy. I get it, but come on, bro. You way smarter than this. You way smarter than this. And the fact that we are going to have some people that will write in Kanye West just as a joke, just to have fun with it, that will take away from the votes that Joe Biden will need to be able to beat President Trump in an election, is what's making me so mad about it. You can make a case and say the people that are going to vote for Kanye West weren't going to vote for Biden anyway. That case can definitely be made. But the fact that we have people like Chance the Rapper, whom now I got to look at sideways and be like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, did you see that video that Kanye put out? Nothing about that is presidential. Well, Kanye's been donating money and he's been doing good work. Kanye is very good at being able to make music. Kanye is very good in the fashion sense. I do not want Kanye to run the country. Let me see what he does with Donda first before I be like, let's put him in charge of a territory that he owns. No. So that's the last piece. Chance, bruh. Because he about to have people get, real serious about, all right, so I really only like this and this. I ain't really rock with the rest of it. Because, dude, no, man. No, I'm still upset because Chance about the Chicagoist and hasn't even done anything with that just yet. Like, that could be a platform that we all could use right now to help disseminate the mess from the good news that's out there that we so much need. Ain't being done. But what's so dangerous about that is people are blindly going to follow him. And I know that Chance is smart enough to say, yo, this is really just a joke. But there's some people that lives are in jeopardy, right? I don't want to joke around with stuff like this when we got people at the border that are being mistreated or that are disappearing, right? When you have different ethnic groups being called out and discriminated against for this long. I want an adult in the room that's been through the rigor, that can delicately handle this situation in ways our current administration can. I ain't got no faith in Kanye West to do that, and that's that on that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the rest of the show today. Please, if you would like to continue to support, go ahead and follow at The Alt with Mel, TheAltWithmel. I greatly appreciate you guys in doing so. You can also support me, Melvin Taylor II, on everything. If you need any help, go to my website, melvintaylorii.com, and then it'll have everything listed out for you. After that, man, please just remember to stay blessed, stay favored, always stay tailored. If you got dreams, see it through, and I'm gonna see you next time on the show next week, man. Peace, love. Let's get out of here with some music.